them about the film. So before we dive into your journey, can you share a moment that truly captures who Jordan was? Not just as an athlete, but as a son, as a friend, as a person.
Oh, there were many moments. Jordan was like me, quiet, didn't say much. But the moment that captured me and surprised me was the day that we dropped Jordan off at college. I mean, he was just smiling and happy to be there. And I had to take him to Target. And I was like, you want me to go with you? And he was like, no, I have it. He came out, had everything he needed. And right then and there, I was like, he's ready. He's ready. Because he's always been home, you know. But when I saw that, I felt good, and he was ready. He was ready.
For me, I was just, every time I see the video, I always get something different, and it would have been a total waste of time to take Jordan to Disney World back in them days, because I don't think he would ever went in the park, right?
No.
Yeah. I think for me, what really resonated was when Jordan passed. It was like Jordan was always kind of quiet, just kind of stoic, but it was more so who he was to other people. So really, when his friends would tell us things about him, and I was like, our Jordan, you know. So I think everything that Tonya and I instilled in him, basically, you know, he really shared with the world.
Grief is deeply personal, as I'm sure we all are feeling right now. What helped you to begin to transform your pain into this passion?
For me, I just put everything in God's hand. That's all I could do. Mm-hmm.
It's still hard.
But I leaned hard in on my faith, and that's the only reason why I'm still standing. My only child. So, like I said, I put everything I had into God's hand, and that's all I did. Mm-hmm.
For me, it was the work. It was the work. Like, my grief really was what you just saw. That was my grief. That was grief driving me for like the first 4 years. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that sort of goes into my next question. What was the turning point when you decided that Jordan's story had to become a movement? And the movement has transitioned over a number of years.
I think for me, when Jordan was in the hospital, like, I was always optimistic that he would get through this. Like, I knew we just probably wouldn't play football again. So, you know, I think if I could speak for both of us, we really just kept saying, like, it's a story to be told here. You know, like, you're going to have a great story. And for me as a father, I just think that if something happens to your child, especially like this, as a father, it's your fault. Like, regardless of what happened, how it happened, it was something that I didn't prepare for. And I just kind of personalized that to the point where what really kind of I didn't prepare for was what we didn't know, or what I didn't know. And ultimately, we made a decision 3 days after he passed. Because in my case personally, it was like, do I go down this rabbit hole of depression or despair, blaming myself, or do we get in front of it and try to make some type of impact? At that time, I didn't know this would be the impact, you know, who does early on, but I knew we had to do something. I had to do something on a positive note. And luckily, you know, my family, Tonya and the rest of the family, kind of followed my lead, or believed in me enough to follow my lead.
And thank God Marty did that, because mine wasn't ready for it. I'm like, why are you doing this? And as I said, thank God for Marty and the vision, because it has made a difference. It really has.
Mm-hmm. Starting the Jordan McNair Foundation was a bold and a brave step. What were the first conversations like when you envisioned it? And maybe take us through when you started to where we are now at KOBY, because it has evolved and expanded over time.
Yeah. So initially, you know, the big thing for us was we were just really focused on heat-related injuries, right? Like, so we just thought if there had been a cold water tub on the field, and Jordan would still be here. And it's kind of like, that's a yes and no question. And then for us, it was really heat. But it's kind of hard to talk about heat after September. It's kind of hard to talk about heat. Nobody want to talk about heat between September and April and May, to be honest with you. So for those first couple years, you know, we were just really trying to find our way. And it was more, we were very peak season-ish, and we were very valley season-ish. After September, you know, this was a wrap for us, right? And just trying to scramble, trying to stay relevant. And one of the things that when we came up with KOBY just was a one-liner. Like, it was a one-pager, and it was just, because one of the things I think, here I go accepting blame for what happened, we did not prepare Jordan for, and I didn't teach Jordan self-advocacy amongst his peers, but not adults and coaches. So KOBY really just came from keep on believing in yourself, listen to your body, and man, it just evolved. So, you know, we were really thinking like, okay, how do we stay relevant all year long? How do we go into the schools? So again, the college landscape, you know, unfortunately, kids kept dying, unfortunately, on a national level. And therefore, you know, obviously it was more, I could go out and talk all day, right? But what was gonna make I could leave people feeling good and motivated. But one of the things I had to realize was like, what's gonna make anything I say stick once I leave? And we got on this legislative journey, right? And we got the first law passed, then we got the second law passed, then we got the third law passed, then we got the fourth law passed. But one of the things I kind of realized from the second to the third law was, why does nobody know about these laws, right? Only when tragedy strikes, that's when people are reactive when it comes to legislation. So I realized the real work started not when the bill passed. The real work starts when it passes the bill. When the bill passes from a perspective of saying, this law protects your child, your child, your child. So that's where the real work really came in at. It wasn't, part of the work was the first part, getting the bill passed, but the real work came afterward. So after we just kind of, you know, went through our incremental steps, and it was like, how do we stay relevant all year long? And, you know, somebody kind of told me we had this was a couple years ago, this was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Right, and it really didn't get the burn that we wanted it to get. And we were at a film festival in Ocean City, right, last year, and they didn't show it. Because something happened, they didn't show that the day that this was supposed to run, they didn't show any of the movies. We done drove down to Ocean City, and I said, you know what, we need to show this in the schools. So my mind was steady clicking. Then it's like, you know what, this landscape in college has changed, we need to write a curriculum, right? So I wrote the curriculum, and you and I wrote the curriculum, and then it's like, okay, we need more. Then we kept going to a college summit. This is where Wendy and I met, and it was like, then the young person told me, Mr. Marty, you need to tie all of your products together like a hair product, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, when women buy hair products, they buy the shampoo, they buy the conditioner, and they buy the finishing products. Put it all together. And when she said that, we was gone at that point. And as this landscape of college changed, one of the big things is this keeps changing. Like, this isn't 7 years ago or 8 years ago when Jordan was being recruited. This isn't even 3 years ago. This is right now, and this is a business. So the goal for us was, how do we educate people and bring this information to families earlier? Because, you know, kids are growing up faster just because money is involved, right? And families that are unprepared, you know, unfortunately, money can cause more problems than it can solve. So that was really our goal at KOBY, like between our curriculum and our parent education, how do we bring it all together and invite parents and student athletes and families to come out to these type of events to get a ton of information to help them be more prepared. You all right with that?
Oh, you said it all.
Well, in closing, my final question is, if Jordan could see the work you've done in his name, what do you think he'd say?
Thank you. With a smile. That's all. One word, 2 words. Thank you. He wasn't anybody. He didn't have many words. Like his mom.
Like his dad, right? No, he was not. No, you know. I think that, you know, real quick, Jordan was the type of guy you could ride from Baltimore to New York and you might get 4 words out of it. Yep. Right? That was just Jordan. Period. I think he would say thank you. Job well done, Mom and Dad. Job well done, for sure. Yep.
Well, let's give Marty and Tonya a round of applause because they are so resilient and so brave. And really enjoy the whole rest of today about KOBY. Keep on believing in yourself. And we thank you for coming.
Thank you.